Hey, what's up guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Logitech G303 Daedalus Apex. At least that's how I think you pronounce it. This mouse was sent to me from Logitech, so a huge thanks for actually sending me this out. It can be found on Amazon.co.uk and Amazon USA for £50 and $50 respectively. Now, as I'm in the UK, I'm going to be reviewing it at the £50 price tag, which is obviously much greater in terms of conversion than $50. Now, inside the package, you only get the mouse, which is a little bit of a shame, but that's because you've got no sort of weight adjustments on the 303, so do bear that in mind. The mouse itself is terminated by a braided gold-plated USB cable, which can be plugged into USB 2.0 or 3.0. Now I'll get into the software in a little bit, but first of all let's talk about its design. So first of all, the thing you're going to notice is the customizable colors. So you've got the side colors over here and you've got the top one over here. They can both independently be customized and to your heart's content via the 16.8 whatever million colors that you can choose from. Basically RGB colors, you can choose them and it's brilliant. Now my camera might be picking up it flashing, I don't know, on my screen I can see it flashing, but I've got it as my media profile as pulsating yellow, and then I've got it as my gaming profile as the G symbol off with red on the sides. Now you might be wondering, why do you have your G symbol off when you're gaming? Well, it's quite simple. I noticed after long periods of sessions, say 2 or 3 hours of gaming, that my palm was starting to heat up because of this G symbol. Again, it is very long periods of gaming, but it's almost like any sort of LED color that you're going to get, or any light. If you press against a light, it's going to get hot, and especially if you're not moving it that much, you're holding it down like that, you're going to notice a little bit of a warmth. So do bear that in mind if you're going to be gaming with it. I would personally suggest you have the G symbol off. Now, in terms of its button layout, I personally think it's a little bit lacking. You've got 2 buttons on the left and 1 at the top. Obviously you've got the normal left-right click and the scroll button click, but for me those are almost standard mice, you know, wherever it is, be a £1 mouse 10 years ago to now, you're going to have these 3 buttons regardless. Unless you're a Mac user, then, you know, just get out of here basically. So on these buttons over here, I just feel that it's a little bit lacking because I would like a little bit more buttons. You can see this Anker mouse on the right here. It's got 3 on the side, 2 at the top and 1 over here, plus the additional 3, which makes it really, really customizable in terms of buttons. Now some people don't like a lot of buttons because they're intrusive, but for me these buttons are not at all intrusive. They're just perfectly placed for you to use. So for me, I would have liked an extra 1 or 2 buttons included on the mouse, as it would have been really useful for my multimedia use and my gaming use. So the buttons can be adjusted to whatever you want via the software, and I will show you that on the software in just a second. Now in terms of its ergonomics, you can see it's quite symmetric. Oh god, I can't even say it. It's an even mouse. You can use it both with your left hand and your right hand without a problem. However, do bear in mind if you're left-handed, then these buttons are going to be kind of hard to reach. Now in terms of the actual ergonomics of the mouse, I do feel that it's an extremely flat and very small, low-profile mouse. Now it does look kind of cool when you place it there, and it looks really nice and quite small and sort of portable, but when it comes to actually using it, I found myself I had to change my grip. You can see that in terms of my hands, I've got sort of medium-sized hands. You can see how it's fitting around my hand. If I use the Anker on the other hand, you can see how well that fits. This fits almost like a Razer Death Adder, whereas this one feels more like a Sensei by SteelSeries. So it's very small, and some people might like that, especially people with smaller hands. But for me, I felt that my grip had to be adjusted when it came to using it. Now in terms of its performance, which is obviously the biggest thing, it uses the Pixar 3366 sensor, which as far as I'm aware is present in the 303 and the 502 from Logitech. It's exclusive to Logitech for some reason, but either way, it's a sensor that can be found in this mouse, and that's what you should be really interested about. Now what's so interesting about the sensor? Now this sensor that's over here is the Avagio ADNS 9800 sensor. Now that has been known on the market, including with the Sensei's, SteelSeries Sensei's 9500 sensor made by Avagio, is that it has sort of acceleration problems or deceleration problems. And that is basically when you're going left to right really quickly, then the acceleration of the mouse is not going to stop when you stop. It's going to continue just a little bit, even if you disable all sorts of acceleration via Windows, via your game and everything like that. That's just basically due to the sensor. So you might be wondering, why on earth are you going to pay £50 for a less ergonomic mouse like so, and on top of that have less functionalities in terms of buttons and customizability and all of that? Well, it's simply because the sensor itself is absolutely sensational. Now, I game on CSGO quite a lot, almost daily actually, and I really am very picky in terms of the equipment I use. And it surprised me that how long I've been using a mouse like this that has sort of these acceleration problems, and how long I've gone without noticing it. It's not only till I've gone to a better sensor that I've noticed this acceleration, so much so that I've actually completely disabled acceleration for the first time in my life on Windows, so that it's completely disabled and it's literally the sensor doing all the acceleration or the deceleration that I would want it to do. And this is because the G303 is actually capable of producing that accurate acceleration that I would want. It's also extremely precise, so when going from left to right, I had a sort of straight line rather than going randomly up or randomly down. It might seem weird for some people for me to pick this out, because most people will be content with this mouse and will never notice the difference. But for someone who's going to be gaming really competitively, or someone who takes it very seriously, especially when it comes to competitive games out there like CSGO or Dota or whatever it might be, then these mice are going to be a real game changer for you. And I'm not just saying that, I really do mean it. So much so that I love the ergonomics of this mouse. I love the button placement of this mouse. It's literally the perfect mouse for me. But the sensor has made me turn off this mouse and just adopt my hand and my buttons to this mouse because of its sensor. And that's big coming from me, because for me, ergonomics are extremely important. Its posture, everything is really important, but the sensor dominates all in terms of the mouse. Now I'll go into that in just a second, and I want to show you that in terms of how it actually reacts via the software as well, and via the actual via a game. So let me just take you on there right now. Hey, what's up guys? So now we're on CSGO, and you can see the mouse cam and in-game as well. So one thing I wanted to show you over here is actually its noise in terms of how loud this actual clicking is, and which I'll have the camera record the sound of that. And on top of that, I want to mention the clicking. So quick, I'm just going to do some shooting in-game with the camera recording the clicks. Right, so that should give you a good idea of the sound the actual mouse makes. Now, one thing I wanted to mention about this, the sound the mouse makes, is actually the fact of how good the switches are underneath. I felt that my one taps in CSGO, and that one tap means that, you know, if I'm a really far distance and I one tap that guy in the head, that is considered a one tap. That have drastically increased, my one taps have drastically increased in terms of my efficiency, to say, due to the mouse. And that's mainly due to the fact of the two mechanical switches there underneath it, or that's at least what they call it, a mechanical switch or something like that, that make it more precise. And I felt that when it comes to people who are going to be using it in terms of for like MMORPG gamers or just general RPG gamers of any sort, you're going to notice that clicks are going to be really important for you, because you're clicking a lot more than FPS gamers. So FPS gamers will press that and press that and press that, whereas MMO gamers or whatever, like people playing Dota or League of Legends, will be clicking all the time, clicking left, clicking right, quickly changing and then pressing again, trying to change their, I don't know, their power-ups or whatever it might be. So it's going to be really important for those guys, and I just thought to mention it because it is a mouse that some people would want to buy, not for FPS reasons, but for other reasons. So in terms of its performance, as you can see that I was telling you about, it's really, really good. Now, I don't know how to show you this, but you can see this line over here. If I quickly sweep along, you can see that it's quite near that same line that I just came from. It's a little bit under, but that also comes from user error. Again, I'm just sweeping from left to right, And okay, I went down a little bit there, but basically all I'm trying to say is that it does keep quite a straight line if you're going to be sweeping left to right very, very well. And that's really useful that if I'm going to go quickly there and then quickly snap up and shoot someone over there, it's extremely accurate. And that's what I was trying to say about the sensor. So its performance is very good, and for me, who games quite a lot, I must say that I was very impressed with its sensor performance. So much so that it's changed my actual gaming mouse and my actual daily driver in terms of mouse. So now let's go to the software. And we're back on the software now. So as you can see, this Logitech gaming software also works alongside other Logitech gaming products like the G710 Plus, which I have. And the G303 also has this onboard versus PC profile switch, which is really clever because you can actually have your profile saved on the mouse itself via its onboard memory, and therefore if you take the mouse somewhere else, you're not going to lose all your settings that you had. Going through the software, you can see that you've got 3 separate profiles you can choose from and 5 DPI settings you can choose from. As you can see, I've got multimedia and gaming as my 2 profiles that I want to choose from, and I've got just one DPI level, just because I like to play and use one DPI setting throughout my mouse. Now the polling rate is 1000 is what I would suggest, but if you have any sort of problems in terms of it's taking too much memory for some reasons, that some people have reported that the polling rate, the higher it is, it can cause strain on your CPU, then you can always reduce this. Now in terms of the buttons, you can customize this to your heart's content. As I said previously, you can change it from any sort of function. So you see over here, you've got the profile switch profile, which literally switches the profile between the 3 that you go in terms of the cycle. And then you've got the keystrokes, which you can register. So keystroke, for example, when it comes to my gaming profile, you can see my keystroke is R, which means reload, and you've got multiple macros which you can set yourself. I don't personally use macros, but this is really useful for people who do. So in terms of this software so far, it's really good. Now in terms of the colors, as you can see over here, there's all different customizations you can do. So you can see over here, I was saying the logo and the sides that you can switch on and off, which is really nice to have. And you can change the lighting effect on and either. You can even have a sleep timer and even the rate that it blinks. Again, really useful to have, and makes it really more personalized for your own sake. Then we've got the surface tuning. Now I use the surface tuning for my Overclockers UK pad that I've got, but you can do it on a factory default, or some people have actually said it's better to have no surface because it had better performance on it, but it basically improves accuracy. I didn't really notice a difference really, but you know, if you do, then you know, if you've got a hard mouse pad, then it's probably worth doing it. Finally, you've got a analysis of a heat map of what you click. I find this kind of useless if you ask me, but you know, it can be useful for people who are really analyzing gamers and analyzing their own way they play games by looking at this heat map. So it's a nice little inclusion. So overall, the software works as intended, and it's a really nice inclusion. It works flawlessly, as I said. What I really would like though is that if you could right click on a little icon on the taskbar, so you can quickly switch profile rather than having to go through the software each time. I think that would have been a really small nifty thing to add in there, and it would have been really useful for those like me who just quickly want to switch their profile rather than opening up the software and then going through this. It would be really nice to just quickly change it. Anyway guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I've tried to cover as much as I could. As I said, it's a mouse that I wasn't expecting to change to, but due to its sensor, I've been extremely impressed, and I gotta say, it is a phenomenal mouse. I would definitely suggest you trying it, at least give it a try, see if it improves your game. For me, it has, both in terms of my one clicks, just because of the, as I said, the switches under both the left click and the right click buttons, and also its accuracy due to its sensor. How accurate it was just sensational for my gaming, so I have actually switched to this G303 as my primary mouse. It's very much, it takes a lot for me to do this, but honestly I have to say that I have to give it a full top marks to Logitech for actually producing such a great sensor. I wouldn't say such a great mouse because it is missing some functionalities as I mentioned, but the sensor is sensational. So again, you know, top marks to Logitech, but also picks up for creating the sensor. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, favorite and share, as it always helps, and definitely do let me know your comments in the comments below. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care. Bye bye.